Valerie Circle, a 24-year-old American expat in Berlin, contracted the coronavirus in October after being exposed to it through her partner. Her symptoms were relatively light until she started experiencing strong chest pains and shortness of breath a week later. She then struggled for days to find a doctor who would see a COVID positive patient. As her symptoms progressed, Valerie felt helpless and scared, which was especially difficult since she had been careful and diligent with the COVID related measures.
The app is something that I saw on the news, I think pretty much right when it came out. So I downloaded it, and I know all of my friends were also downloading it, so it kind of just became a normal part of life, I would say. I knew this would help with tracking the virus and letting you know if it was at risk, so I thought it was a really good idea, and then the notion of it was great.
The COVID 19 pandemic has forced governments to put in place measures they hope will limit the spread of the virus. Whether they are contact tracing apps, lockdowns, or travel bans, some fear these measures may violate civil liberties, which has ultimately led to divided public opinion. One of these measures is the COVID tracing app built by the Robert Koch Institute. The app, which can be downloaded on Android and iOS smartphones, allows for the anonymous monitoring of contact and exposure of users to the virus. Since its launch in June 2020, the app has been downloaded about 25 million times, a figure that isn't representative of actual user numbers due to re-downloads, deletes, etc.
For me, data privacy wasn't an issue that came to mind initially when I downloaded the app, because my understanding was it was for just helping the government tackle the pandemic and also for my own self to know if I'm at risk.
Though data privacy wasn't an issue for Valerie, it has certainly been on the minds of many who fear that giving governments so much information about citizens is a slippery slope to a surveillance state. Patrick Breyer, a data protection activist and member of the European Parliament, has advocated against the app.
There is a great risk that the pandemic is used to establish surveillance tools and procedures that will stay long after the pandemic.
Roman Mironov, a civil liberties activist who has joined the protests against the COVID-19 measures in Germany, is also critical of the app due to privacy fears.
Ich musste sagen, ich habe gelacht, als ich gehört habe, dass man ganz viel Geld in die Entwicklung von diesen App investiert hat. Und sie kann auch nur so sicher sein, ne? Aber am Endeffekt ist es so, dass dieses App verfolgt unsere Aktivitäten.
In fact, the Corona Warn app does not track its users, as the data it collects remains decentralized and anonymous at all times. This means that rather than being an issue of privacy and data protection, this is an issue of misinformation.
I think a lot of the times the issue with data privacy is that this population just simply isn't aware, and it's done sort of behind closed doors.
The Corona Warn app uses a simple but effective decentralized system to ensure people's privacy. Each user has an anonymized code that changes every 24 hours. If your phone gets close to another Corona Warn app user, your phone stores that user's code internally. If someone tests positive, their phone's codes are sent to the central database that then distributes a list of these codes each day. If your app shows any of those codes in its contact list, you will be notified that you have been exposed to someone who tested positive.
Yeah, it's quite funny because we are used now to really post photos where we go, what we eat, where we are on the minute basis. So Facebook and other platforms are allowing that. And now we are concerned that we have a device on our smartphones that really say, hey, I'm here, I have been in contact, and actually the system doesn't know that's me, just know that there's a code. That code will be sent something via another system. So it's not trackable to your personal information. And I think that's sort of the paradox. We are using digital platforms in a certain way where we don't care about data security. And here we are concerned that this will potentially be harmful to your private life. I think the harmful thing right now is the pandemic and the threat of the pandemic and the consequences of the pandemic, and allowing somewhat of sharing data will certainly help to control this better.
Although privacy isn't one of them, experts have identified many issues with the app, ranging from technical limitations to limited consideration for societal demographics, ultimately leading to the app's inefficiency. Only 7% of total infections were reported on the app.
The main problem of the German system seems to be the time that passes between a person getting tested and the person actually issuing the alert and thereby warning other people.
if you have it based on smartphone and Bluetooth technology, then you simply rule out some 56% of the old-aged people older than 70 years, because according to the official, also the Federal Office of Statistics, the possession of smartphone in this age cohort is only 44%.
Demographics aren't the only issue. The app also lacks essential information to help users find resources.
Getting somewhat more detailed information in addition to information about the virus, about the behavior of the virus, about when will I get sick, when am I really affecting other people or have the potential to affect other people, when do I need to get tested, where can I get tested, what time can I get tested. All of this information in one location, in one app would be great, that people not like going from one app to another app to the phone, calling people, oh, we're not open, where do you go, hospital, airport, I don't know. So all of this is important in one location, and if we can manage to really concentrate that in one app, that would be great.
Of course, the app, just like any other measure to combat the pandemic, is limited in its scope and potential, but it has virtually no privacy drawbacks. So using the application is free. It comes at virtually no privacy risk or other detrimental effects. So there's no real reason not to give it a shot. But of course, it doesn't make you immune, and what in the end fights the pandemic is human behavior and not some technological solution.
I think if the general population knew, okay, this is the app, this is what it's going to do, this is what it will track, and this is for the greater good of the people, and making sure that we can monitor and track this pandemic, I think it would go over much better than if it was kind of done in secrecy and people didn't really know what was being tracked.
While criticism of the app's inefficiency is valid, concerns for data privacy are unfounded. Contrary to popular belief, the Corona Warn app does not infringe on its users' privacy rights. In fact, it's a lack of information that has caused mistrust in our institutions, thereby limiting the app's success and keeping it from meeting its intended goal, ensuring that people are well informed, safe, and healthy.